Well, 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 if it isn't Boxbroius Boximus, my arch nemesis, come to steal my cardboard. Not today, Boximus, Frost responded defiantly, and then shot her box gun at Boximus, killing Boximus. Hi. How you doing? Wait, I said killing. Is that bad? I don't know. Can I say killing in a YouTube video? Probably. I say it all the time. Murder! How's it going today, folks? Today I'm gonna read Gambler Jack 2. Supposedly, it's as long, around the same length as Rosalia. I have my notepad open in case I have to take some extra notes. I don't know if I will. Depends on what kind of information seems relevant. I don't think I took notes on Rosalia. I'm not sure I did. No. Maybe? I'm really not sure. But if I did, I don't know where it is. Today's kind of hot out. I like to talk about the weather because I hate it. I hate the weather. Only when it's not to my favor, though. Gosh, the cats wanted to go for a walk, so I took them for a walk, and Dusty ran in after 30 seconds because a garbage truck went by. That was his walk. And then Oodles, he was funny. Oodles, like, went underneath a lilac bush and put his paws up and looked up and meow, meow, meow. Like standing on his back legs, pawing at the air. So I pick him up and hold him up. And he just sits there and grabs onto the branches and pulls them down. I don't know why, but he did. Like, it was fun for him to grab onto them and pull them down. To have them hold his weight. Part of his weight, because I was holding the majority of it. But it was cute. Oodles was having a good time. For reading Gambler Jack 2 today, I have eucalyptus throat coat tea. I have a very large mug with 2 bags, tea bags, in there. It's stewing under that little, stewing in the mug underneath a plate, getting ready to be drank by me. I have my raw honey, unfiltered raw honey here, ready to pour into it because boy, geez, reading a book for 4 hours straight going to take a lot out of my throat. I'm gonna run out of this tea quick. Now, does anyone have a suggestion for where I should read this book? In-game that has nice music. Where is the best music for Gambler Jack 2? While I start this up, let's recap Gambler Jack 1. In-game. Well, I know in-game, but where in-game? Gambler Jack 1, I am going to give the briefest outline I possibly can with my memory, because it was very long ago. Gambler Jack 1 was, there's this guy in this bar, and he's really good at being a gambler. And this girl, Halle, or Rock in, I think, Norwegian, came in and was like, hey, I need your help. And so he said, I don't help you. But then she gambled him, and she was pretty alright at it. But why did she need his help? Because back in the day, her father was the gambling king or something, and he was killed due to a gamble. And so she wanted to get revenge on the guy who killed her father because of gambling. So they went to a ship that was docked, and this ship is like the den of degeneracy and gambling. And so they gambled there, and Gambler Jack bet his life, I think. And that's what Hala's father did. But Gambler Jack won. And then they were friends forever, happy ever after. But Gambler Jack 2 exists. That's as good as my memory is. There's probably some very important things that I don't remember. All I know is Jack and Hala, and they are a friend, like found family, father and daughter now. Getting there, that's almost ready. So I have to find a good save. Why is my controller... Connect controller. There we go. Controller is confused. Controller, there we go. I have to find a nice place with some pretty music. Was there a music controller in the dev rooms? I don't recall. How far back can I go and have all of Gambler Jack 2? At least to the point where I could fly around. Oh, double music. Book. I believe, yes, I have all of Gambler Jack 2 here. So, I want to go first to Ymir to hear what Ymir sounds like. And then I'll have to mute voices, because otherwise they're gonna go, huh, huh, wah, in my ear over and over. No. I have a better place. This might be the same place I read Red Moon Rose. I really don't know. It really could be the same place. Ba-da-da-da-da. Oh, you guys can't even see what I'm doing. Because I wasn't on the right screen. Over here is a good place to do it. I think. Yes. This might have been where I read Red Moon Rose. And I think maybe it's a good place to read. Gambler Jack! Okay. Hi, Ulos. Oh. Here. No, I can move this so you can go down there. Here. Go. It's okay, Ulos. Go on. Welcome here. and see. I think my tea is ready. Let me get that good and drained from the bags. Oh my goodness, Chief Sure. She yawns very often. Just like me. Hi, Glorifin. It's going well for me. How about you? I'll let you out of the room. Don't worry, buddy. Here you go. I know you'll be back in a minute. Ha ha ha. Alright, 1 tea bag drained. How's the art going, Glorifin? Very out of breath today. Very humid. Random extra anxiety day, but we'll get through it. I hate when that happens. Just sometimes I start worrying about stuff for no reason. And sometimes I don't even have a target for my worry. I'm just worried in general. And it sucks. So I understand you. Ah, honey for my tea. Want to take a nap and your tummy said no. Yeah, it sucks. Sorry to hear that. I hope your worry subsides, your anxiety is subdued, and your tummy receives the remedy it requires to not beat bed. Peppermint tea? Heck yeah, I have eucalyptus tea. Fan service flowing? Heck yeah. Keep that drawing going. Or flowing, like you said. Today. Gambler Jack 2. Here it is. Oh my. Oodle's really meowed. I pat him a bunch now. Ouch. Oh, so mean. So, as I recall, the first book was, yes, Holly hi, Oodles. Holly wants Jack to gamble for her to make up for the fact that he was part of the death of her father, because he was the king gambler or something. Her father was, and then he died by gambling his life away, and so she convinced him somehow, and they went to a boat where the gambling happens, and yes, Oodles. And they gambled, and Gambler Jack said, I'll gamble my life. That's what I'm betting, and it was really dangerous, because when you bet your life, you're actually gonna die if you lose or something. That's what happened to her Holly's father. But Gambler Jack won! And there was cheating and stuff, but someone was called out, and it worked in the end, and I can't recall exactly. Oh no, the king! Oh, wait. King? Who is king? I don't remember. Juan was a guy. Enrique was a guy. King was the father. Okay, so I was right about that. But then Gambler Jack became the king, or was there another king after the father died? Right, whoever killed the king became the king, is that it? I gotta understand this before I read Gambler Jack 2, it's probably important. Oh my goodness, Oodles. Here, let me help you out. Oh, no, up there, okay. Ha da 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 da. Oh yeah, she also just has a gun made by the Vern Company because they're in Calvard. just has a gun. Cool. I don't remember that. The girl won, so Gambler Jack worked for, or helped Hala. This is where her story happens. The word king! The king had been fond of using when he felt like teasing Jack. The king was her father. Holly. Oh, I'll let you out, Oodles. There you go, buddy. Okay. So, wait, so she wanted to kill him because he was supposedly the one, according to her, that killed her father, and he believes it too, or at least in some way accepted the fact that that's why she was there. So she wanted to gamble. Why? Enrique. Who was Enrique? Why was Enrique important? 7 years ago, before this event, Jack and King played the game of their lives. And Jack was the winner. The outcome of the struggle for power. So Jack was killed because he lost because they gambled their lives. Okay, so that's what it was. So they get to the harbor. The boat that Jack and King's final game was on. Hala's there. Victory Jack. Uh-huh. So she wanted to gamble to kill Jack? But Enrique was the one who arranged Jack's gambling matches. Therefore, he also arranged the one against King. And he's a drug dealer, smuggler. And Juan was a villain in the Eastern Quarter. I bet Heiyue had some sort of connection to this. So Enrique and Juan were fighting over territory. Took several years before they decided to do a one-on-one gamble. Even cheating was welcome. The fighting was bad, so they took the deal to fight to gamble it out. Okay, the chief minister approved of the match. Okay, so Hala had heard that King died due to illness. However, she learned otherwise? Because she was in the gambling dens as a child. Telling her not to worry was the last memory she has. That's sad. Over here, chatter about thugs that revealed the truth of the matter to Hala one day. And then she wanted to murder. So she learned how to gamble, and Enrique approached her. Okay. So Enrique and Juan wanted to... Or Enrique wanted to bet on Juan, but for money? She has a good poker face as well. She wanted to make Jack lose so he would die. And Enrique liked that because Juan would have Enrique... wait. I'm not sure. And Juan was offered Jack a drink. Excited to see the thing, how the skill that got took down the king. And they're gambling. And the game begins. The first match was even. And they spoke. And told a story about a man who admired something. And it was Jack admiring the king and wanted to win against him. And he just kept telling the story. Learned from King, and eventually was able to beat King in gambling. I think. Or not. It was someone else who he admired. Oh, no, he never, you know, he admired King, but he never was able to, he never faced off against him. But eventually they were like, yeah, let's put this new guy, this Victory Jack guy against this King dude. Jack was a young fool. He didn't understand. He was ignorant of the true nature of the gamble, what it means to gamble your life. Hala is winning. And Hala is still about killing Jack through winning this game. And Jack's basically given up. Saying, I'll die someday. Might as well be today. Oh. And she's still curious about the story. Man, the man never won against the one that he admired. Apparently, never won against King. Which she's confused about because Jack had to have won for the King to die. Oh my god. That's right. Jack crashed out here. The King never lost, not to Jack. His pride was intact. He chose to lose in order to protect everything he held dear to him, which was Hala. And Jack's hand won. Jack can't beat King. Cheating's fine as long as you're not caught, apparently. It's a core rule. But no one could see how Jack cheated if he did. A technique used by King to have 4 kings, apparently. But he used it just like he did now with Hala to make... the King used it to make Jack win, just how Jack made it to make Hala win. Or no, he won this time. And Jack wondered, why would King throw away his life for this? Same day of the match, she was ill. But why was she ill? Enrique had a poison! And did Enrique sell the antidote to Jack, to try to give the antidote to Jack, but he needed to gamble for it? King lost on purpose. Enrique poisoned Hala and then threatened King with it. Okay. Oh, Juan's the one being mad. No proof. But logic told the truth. He stopped protesting. Poor Hala. All that she lived her life for was for an empty, false purpose. She died for you, Hala. Or your father died for you. So Jack won the game and asked for Hala as the reward. To free her from Enrique. And now they're back at the harbor. And Jack said, "You're free to go. Do what you wish." And Hala says, "Why are you doing this?" And he says, "King saved you, and he also saved me, so I'm gonna save you." Boulder. Jack thinks King never enjoyed gambling or going to the gambling areas, places. Okay. Sometime later, city migrant, a city in this country, a place where migrants from the east have recreated their home. That's where the Gambler Jack guy is. That same dingy bar. But he was a different man. And Hala was there. No betting, just playing. Cool, so that's Gambler Jack 1. Now I understand. Okay. I've taken a drink of my honey tea. And I'm ready to start reading. Gambler Jack 2. Chapter 1. Jack and Hala. The Calvard Republic. There's a city in this country, a place where migrants from the east have recreated their homeland down to the bright lacquered tiles. Nicknamed the Eastern Quarter, it's a vibrant place, bustling and hot. The visible parts of the city aren't the only bustling areas either. The underworld is just as lively. For over a decade, the Eastern Quarter had been embroiled in a battle between old and new gangs. Half a year ago, the balance of power between the two changed significantly. Is Heiwei the new one? Yeah, Heiwei's the new gang. Or at least it was in Crossbell. All thanks to the outcome of a single... Oh, okay. A single game of poker. The newcomers suffered a crushing defeat while the established gangs enjoyed a glorious victory. Wait, is Heiwei the old? The two players in that pivotal game, however, cared nothing for the gang's territory dispute. The first was a man named Jack, a prolific gambler known by the moniker Victory Jack because of the countless wins he had to his name. The second was the daughter of the late king. Oh, this is recapping Gambler Jack 1. Jack's former teacher, and once the most skilled card sharp in the region. Her name was Hala. The match between them took many unexpected turns, and shocking truths were dealt as readily as hands. The game eventually ended with Jack claiming the win, but Hala's loss also liberated her from the seedy underworld she'd been drawn into. For now. After her infamous exit, Hala took to working as a waitress in a rundown bar on the northern outskirts of the Eastern Quarter. I remember seeing that in one of the doors in 3rd. For Jack, who called that rundown bar home, it wasn't quite the ending he'd had in mind, but Hala's unyielding resolve forced him to resign himself to the inevitable. Several months passed after that fateful game, and the two continued to live in relative harmony. It was on one such peaceful day, the heat of summer at its peak, that Hala decided to take Jack out on a little trip. Their destination? The new town adjacent to the Eastern Quarter. New town. All right. Starting to teach me about Calvert a little bit. Preparing me for the future. Preferring to spend his time in the comfort and seclusion of the bar, Jack considered this idea nothing short of torture. Man, if only he had a normal car. If only we had a normal car. He grumbled. Hala shot him a skeptical look. Wait, doesn't he have, man, if only we had a normal car? Because he had, he did that sort of accent in the first book. Hala shot him a skeptical look. You can drive, Jack? I don't know what her voice sounds like. I forgot what I gave her. He shrugged. Well enough. Been a while, but... Oh. Controller. Work? Controller? I'm trying to read the video game. He shrugged. Well enough. Been a while. But wouldn't be much of a man if I couldn't. There aren't many guys of my caliber who can't handle a... Whatever, she interrupted, mercilessly cutting him short as they approached their destination. A newly constructed building with a giant sign above the entrance loomed before them. It was a movie theater. Oh! One of only a small number in the entirety of the Republic. First movie theater in Zemuria that we know of. Movie theaters exist. TV soon, baby. I mean, we have screens, but we don't have television. We don't have cable network. Satellite TV. Streaming services. Chapter 2, Soleil of Love. Movies were a cultural phenomenon relatively new to Calvard, and virtually unknown on the rest of the continent. There were stories told through moving pictures with sound recorded using an orbital camera, edited and then displayed on giant screens in theaters for the enjoyment of the masses. And though movies were still uncommon, they were rapidly gaining popularity. Ordinarily, Jack spurned Hala's invitations to venture out into the great outdoors, but his curiosity about this new innovation overcame his reluctance. So, which one of the two are we gonna watch? This Gunslinger from Hell one looks good to me. Gunslinger from Hell. Is that referencing anyone? No. But it's a cool title for a movie, he said. 2 tickets for Soleil of Love, please. Hala said to Jack, her face positively beaming. Jack knew then that he had been a fool to even think he might have any choice in the matter. From the day that Hale started working at the bar, it quickly became apparent that he had no hope of winning an argument against her. It would be easy to attribute this to the history between him and King, but truth be told, it was just his nature to fold against a hand like hers. He sighed. Soleil of Love, as he recalled, was a movie adaptation of a popular novel. A love story. Ah, I wonder if we'll get to read that eventually. Maybe that'll be the next one. Extra. Soleil of Love. Question: how important is the x-coordinate for the cheat? X-coordinate for cheat engine? Well, you can't find it, huh? For a number for CS3. It depends. It really depends. Because there could be I mean, I really shouldn't be. I really shouldn't be moving myself around in CS3, at least till later in the game. So if you like twiddle and fiddle with it for like once, like 15 minutes a month, see if you can find the X coordinate eventually. That's probably the best way to do it. You'll find it eventually, I'm sure. Just don't press yourself over it, because I probably won't need it for a long while. Until, like, the end, especially when it's very necessary when I'm doing save editing stuff. Okay. Anyways, he sighed. Soleil of Love, as he recalled, was a movie adaptation of a popular novel. A love story. The genre alone was enough to convince Jack he wasn't in for a fun time. But he knew better than to try and resist. Reluctantly, he stepped inside the theater. At least the building had air conditioning. Love story or no, it would be marginally better than standing outside in the sweltering heat, at least. Air conditioning mentioned! Yay! This isn't the first time. Thanks for the follow. Kiseki couple. Who is your favorite Kiseki couple before CS3? I haven't played CS3 and after. I just finished Cold Steel 2. Who is your favorite Kiseki couple before CS3? Go! I think Anton and Ricky are mine. Nah, Joshua and Stell's a pretty easy answer. Because they're actually a couple. It's a really easy answer for me. One of the few canon couples. I don't know, Scott and Pearl. Or, yeah, Pearl is pretty good. Gotta get one of those side characters. Basic answer, Joshua and Estelle. Yeah, me too. I agree. Glad to have you here. Thanks for coming around and appreciate the follow. Back to this other couple, though not romantically. Jack and Holly. Reluctantly. Oh, I read this already. Air conditioning. Oh, wow, look at that, Jack! This is so cool! Holly's eyes were alight with excitement as she took in the building's modern fixtures. She caught sight of the refreshment counter and dragged him over to it. After much wheedling and begging, Jack bought popcorn and drinks for the two of them. Snacks in hand, they made their way to their seats for the start of the movie. The film began to play, and a hopelessly attractive man and woman were projected onto the screen. Jack watched their romantic and tragic tale with stoic resignation, while Holly sat captivated by every scene. Eventually, the movie reached its torrid climax. The two lovers overcame the many obstacles in their path and finally came together as one in marriage, sharing a kiss so passionate that Holly couldn't help but avert her eyes. She goes embarrassed. A lot seem to skip them. They're very important to me because very often, so far, many of them are true or have some sort of truth to them. They're very important for world building. Even if there's only a hint of truth in them. Like the Doll Knight. There's just the tiniest bit of hint of truth so far. Just a little bit. Still haven't figured that one out. She glanced over at Jack to see his reaction and found him fast asleep in his seat. And Holly's mad. Chapter 3. Is this Nike or Nike? Who is this? How is this guy's name pronounced? Or girl? Nike, like the shoe brand or the sports brand. You assume? Okay. Nike and Leonard. Or Leonard. I'm gonna say Leonard. I mean, it could be Nike. But, you know, not spelt like the gacha game way. After the credits rolled, the two of them made their way to a nearby cafe. The coffee shop had a relaxed, peaceful atmosphere, but the mood between them was anything but. Holly was furiously stuffing herself full of parfait, which Jack had been forced to buy. I love Holly. The gap between her and Gambler Jack 1, this poker face, stone cold gambler who out for revenge, and then after curling up and bawling like a child that she is on the ground, now she's this adorable, excitable person who just loves enjoying life. Yeah, me too. I said agate wrong for a while. Yeah, you could hear me say liberal because I pronounced it liberal all the way through, like, through Crossspell before someone finally realized and said, it's actually pronounced liberal. And so I've never changed the way I pronounce it. It's still liberal to me. Same with idios. I say idios and not adios like all of the Cold Steel people when I first heard the pronunciation of it. I know, I've heard it pronounced. In the Cold Steel they pronounced it, I believe. I always pronounced it like library, liberal. Found the... Careful there, Glorifin. It is Nikkei. Okay. So it is Nikkei. Because Japanese, originally. This game is. Got it, so Nikkei. And Leonard. Leonardo. Holly was furiously stuffing her face, which he could only sit by and watch in horrified fascination. It was her third. I cannot believe you! Your first time going to see a movie and you fall asleep? She said. Around mouthfuls. Oh, I did not realize the mouthfuls. I would have said it differently. Of cream and fruit. Jack tried to sidestep her outrage and instead gestured to the remains of the dessert. Y'all done there? Had enough? I'll decide when I've had enough, she snapped, glaring over the rim of the glass. He raised his hands in surrender. Jack knew from experience that there was nothing he could do when she was in a mood like this. Anything he said would just make it worse, and weathering the storm was the best he could hope for. Of course, Holly knew exactly what he was trying to do, and that just made her angrier. Her glare grew more pointed. Who is this? I see you haven't gotten any better at understanding women's hearts, Jack, said a female voice at Jack's elbow. He started. How long she had been there? He didn't know. Holly opened her mouth to say something, but when she beheld the owner of the voice, nothing came out. It was a woman in her late 20s. She had delicate, youthful features and yet exuded the allure of a much more mature woman. Her hair was wavy and platinum blonde. Okay. And she wore a glamorous red dress. So, platinum blonde in Trails means white. Pure white, like Fee. And she wore a glamorous red dress that was open at the front, displaying her gorgeous bosom to its best advantages. I know it's Jessica Rabbit, right? Outfit? No, not Jessica Rabbit. No, Jessica Rabbit's different. The back's open. But I can imagine what she's wearing. It was a level of seductiveness Holly knew she would never be able to achieve. Jessica Rabbit has a deep V too on the front. Okay, so the deep V is what I'm thinking of. What had stolen her breath wasn't the woman's attractiveness, however. It was the fact that she was the very actress who had played the heroine in the movie they had just watched. Hello there, the woman purred. The name's Nikke. I'm an actress, I suppose. It's nice to meet you, Holly. And nice to see you again, Jack. Jack squirmed under her dazzling smile. Do you know her? Holly asked him. Yeah, Jack said, not meeting her gaze. We go a while back. Or back a while. The woman's eyes twinkled. Such a cold-hearted man. You could be a little happier to see me after all this time, you know. So, she's King's daughter then, huh? Jack and Holly turned to see a man in an... Oh, this is a different guy. So she's King's daughter then, huh? This must be the Bale actor from the movie. I've streamed all of the games up to CS2. I'm starting CS3 soon. Jack and Holly turned to see a man in an expensive suit approaching their table. He seemed to be with Nikke. It's a pleasure to meet you, Holly. The man continued. My name is Leonard. Then he addressed Jack. It's been 7 years, I believe. Good to see you again. Good to see you again too, Jack. Oh, hey, Leonard. Jack's reply was casual, but the tone conveyed great respect. Or, hey, Leonard. As if addressing a superior. The power balance between the two of them was immediately clear to Holly from that alone. Leonard was a man in his late 30s, roughly 5 years Jack's senior. They had both learned together under King. Ooh. But being the younger of the two, Jack had come to treat the other man deferentially, much like he had his former teacher. Unlike Jack, however, Leonard had given up the gambling life and moved on to playing a new game. Now he was an up-and-coming politician. Okay, so he's not the other actor in the movie. Regularly featured on the front pages of newspapers and well-known to the people of Colorado. Oh, great. A once prolific gambler in the very dangerous, mafia-ridden gang underworld, now politician. Well, I can only imagine one of the... this will feed into one of the troubles I'll be dealing with in the future. An actress and a politician. The two of them certainly stood out. Several other customers seemed to realize who they were, and before long, all eyes in the room were on them. Always happens with Jack and Holly around. Somehow always drawing attention. Even if it wasn't their fault this time. Nikke sighed. Ugh, this is why I hate this job sometimes. You know you love the attention, Leonard replied with a grin. It does, however, make this place a bit difficult to talk in. Mind coming with us, Jack? Knowing full well he couldn't possibly refuse, Jack shrugged and stood up from his seat. Chapter 4, The Race. Where is this going? The race. So, Nikke and Leonard they want Jack for something. And of course, Holly being so close to Jack is going to involve herself. Gambling at a racetrack? What kind of racetrack? Like a car racetrack? Don't tell me they got they got the Daytona 500 here. Jack and Holly followed Leonard and Nikke out and eventually found themselves at an amateur racetrack. It seemed closed for the day, though, and no cars sped around the grounds or crowds grazed the stands. Holly gaped at the circuit. Oh, wow, it's a racetrack! All of the excitement that she had felt in the theater came flooding back. It had been years since she had visited one, and the memory of that trip with her father had grown very faint. Seeing this track was almost as if experiencing it again for the first time. Nikke smiled at her enthusiasm. You're so cute, she said. Yeah, can see why King doted on her so much now, Leonard replied with a nod. Mm-hmm. Well, seeing as you're here, want to see an actual race, Holly? Holly's eyes grew wide. Oh, can I? Leonard nodded again. You can. The man you're with says yes, anyway. Wait, so Jack isn't just a gambler. He's also a racer? Jack shifted uncomfortably as all eyes turned. He's a jack of all trades! Oh, of course! Jack shifted uncomfortably as all eyes turned to him. They even mentioned earlier, he said, I wish I had a car, and she was like, can you drive, Jack? Do you know how to drive? And he's like, yeah, any man would know how to drive, Holly, you stupid. It was obvious that Leonard's true motivation for the invitation was to get Jack to participate, and that he had no qualms about using Holly to that end. King's other former student was still every bit the calculating man that he used to be, and that was something that Jack had never been good at dealing with. Still, he owed Leonard a lot. He had learned a great deal from his former teacher, but he had learned just as much, if not more, from Leonard. How to drive an orbital car was just one of these things. While King had always been the expert on gambling, Leonard was the authority on sports and all other forms of entertainment. So, does that mean as a politician, Leonard, you're gonna be like super cool and make good rights for entertainment? Maybe Leonard, stop killing games, brother. All forms of entertainment. Leonard turned to Jack. I was really happy when I heard you'd gotten a bit of fire back after that game against Holly. Thought you were a lost cause when King died, all those years wasted just rotting away. He gestured to the track. I want to see the Victory Jack I used to know again, so come on, show me. Jack shrugged. Well, if you insist. I haven't been behind the wheel in quite some time, though, so I hardly think I'll be a worthy opponent. Heh, that's my man. Challenge accepted, the pair set about choosing their vehicles. Leonard, it seemed, was a friend of the track's owner. Not only could they choose whichever cars they wanted, but they had the entire racetrack to themselves as well. They're gonna wreck a car. I'll go with this old Vern model, concluded Jack. Leonard laughed. I'll use one that has the same specs then. Wouldn't want to have an unfair advantage against you. Aw, Leonard seems to be a nice guy. Just based on that, Cars decided they moved to the starting line where a delighted Holly was to give the signal. On your mark, get set, go! And they were off! Leonard in the lead and Jack following. In the past, the two of them had always been equally skilled at driving. In this race, their cars also had roughly equal specs, so the odds of Jack being able to catch up on any of the course's straights were practically zero. As such, the outcome would be determined by how he fared on the course's 3 corners. The first corner came. Jack kept his footing on the accelerator until the last second, trying to seize his chance to overtake. Leonard, however, responded by doing the same and denied Jack his chance. The second corner came. Jack followed the bend, conserving as much of his speed as possible, but Leonard maneuvered to block him, and he was forced to remain in second place. The third corner came. The last of the corners was a sharp hairpin turn, a fitting final battle to determine the outcome of the race, and it was here that the tides turned. Whether it was due to the overconfidence from his earlier domination was unclear, but Leonard made a minor mistake that Jack was able to take advantage of, and he seized the lead. All that remained was the straight to the finish line. In the distance, Holly came rushing over, and Jack greeted her with a bitter smile. She clapped her hands together. You did really well, Jack. It's just a shame you got past at the end. Leonard and Nikke joined them. Nikke's expression was impassive, but Leonard's was livid. You held back again, didn't you? No, he was not that mad yet. You held back again, didn't you? He said. Jack hesitated. No, He hadn't done it on purpose, but he realized that Leonard was right. But why, Jack? Why? Why? I'm almost out of tea. I'm out of tea. Chapter 5, Daily Life. The truth was, he had been too afraid to ask, but he assumed that Nikke must be Leonard's lover. Seeing her at the finish line on the last straight, he had found himself not wanting to embarrass Leonard in front of her, causing him to subconsciously hold back. That's like, that is like incredibly, Jack is just an overthinker. Oh my god. He overthinks things. Come on, Jack. Don't be this way. In addition, Jack hated being the focus of Leonard's attention. King had always favored Jack, seeing more potential within him than his other student, a fact that had filled Leonard with envy and resentment. Sensing this, Jack had begun to hold back whenever he was forced to compete against Leonard, a tactic that infuriated Leonard to no end. To him, Jack's behavior was nothing less than arrogance. Leonard clenched his teeth in anger, biting back further commentary on the race. 3 days passed since the race. Jack and Holly were both back in the bar, whiling away the time, the same way as always. In Holly's case, this meant working hard, taking orders, and carrying drinks. In Jack's, it meant sleeping in his room behind the bar well into the day. Contrary to his appearance and indolent schedule, Jack was actually a man of many talents. See, he's a jack of all trades. Thanks to that, and the kindness of the bar's owner, he had effectively ended up becoming its live-in gambler. Something Jack was actually quite proud of. Did Jack gamble and win, and like a percent of his earnings would go to the bar owner? Is that what's going on here? He was also charismatic enough to keep the more rowdy clientele in check, although how much they actually liked him was a question only they knew the answer to. The situation had changed somewhat since Holly's arrival, however. While Jack was still the bar's resident grifter and his position relative to its other customers the same as ever, Holly was clearly on a level above Jack, carefully manipulating him into doing whatever she wanted him to. It was an endeavor she had the support of the punks who hung out out there and doing too. In other words, Holly was now the one in charge. Water. Jack, she called. The owner needs you to go out and buy some ingredients for him. She got a yawn in response, then a muzzy. Huh? Why do I gotta? Those who don't work don't get to eat. That's the way of the world, so go on. Time for you to do some work too. Ugh, he grumbled, emerging from the room. Just you wait. Nonetheless, he obeyed the instructions of the girl, 15 years his junior. Despite his protests, he wasn't entirely opposed to doing what she asked. What he was opposed to was the smart but grin on the face of one of the punks following the exchange. He glared at the punk as he passed. What are you looking at? Jack! Fine, fine. He growls and resigned to the inevitable set-off. This is a weird relationship. The battered door of the bar gave its familiar shriek as he passed through it. No sooner had he left, however, than the door let out another shriek. One could only assume either the owner didn't have the money to get a new one fitted, or he had decided it was actually quite convenient as a doorbell of sorts. Blech. Heralding the arrival of a new customer. This particular caller couldn't possibly have been more out of place. It was none other than Nikke, the actress. Why? Why are you here? Something with Leonard? Welcome to our... Nikke! Holly gaped at the woman. I can't believe you're really working in a rundown place like this now. Nikke replied with a laugh. She sauntered over, swayed her hips to the counter, and claimed one of the seats in front of it with the ease of a regular. Silence permeated the bar, booze forgotten as all eyes drank in the sight of her. Good to see you again, she said to the owner. I'm kind of surprised, though. Your customers seem more well-behaved these days. The owner laughed. Really? We've got Holly to thank for that, then. You know the owner here? Then, were you and Jack, Nikke flashed a smile at her. He's a former lover of mine, yes. Holly was stunned into silence by the response. It wasn't as though she hadn't thought it to be the case. She just hadn't expected Nikke to admit the truth so freely. Nikke giggled at the expression on her face. That look of surprise is really cute, too. Maybe you should try becoming an actress yourself. I definitely think you've got the potential. Really? I'm pretty sure I'm not cut out for it. Her usual confidence deflated under the playful gaze of the older woman. She might have no problem bullying Jack, but Nikke was another matter. She hesitated. Deep down, Holly had a lot that she wanted to ask about Jack and Nikke's relationship with one another, but she couldn't bring herself to do so. As if reading her thoughts, Nikke's perfect smile widened. I don't mind answering your questions, she began, but it's no fun if I just tell you everything, so why don't we make a little wager? If you win, I'll tell you what you want to know, but if I win, I've got something I want to ask you. Exactly what someone like Nikke would have to ask someone like her, Holly couldn't fathom. But she wasn't the type to back down from a challenge when it came to gambling. She took after her father in that regard. They decided on cards, a game of blackjack. Nikke seemed unconcerned when Holly confessed she was rather good at it. Despite being a mere 15 years of age, Holly was nothing short of a genius when it came to gambling. Part of it was due to the incredible amount of effort and dedication she had poured into acquiring her skill. But it was also thanks to her exceptional memory. Her powers of recollection were so great that not even her father nor Jack could compare. That, more than anything, was her greatest weapon: exceptional memory. It had also allowed her to be an expert at card counting. an ability that let users almost predict the cards in the next hand by remembering all previous cards used in the game. It's like her alt. It's her S-craft. She can count cards. She can get kicked out of casinos. Blackjack in particular gave card counters a significant advantage, making it a game that Holly had always been especially skilled at. But does that mean she becomes more susceptible to cheating because she's expecting a certain outcome, but it might not happen because of cheating? The game began. Watching Nikke, Holly quickly came to the conclusion that Nikke wasn't used to playing blackjack at all. By the end, however, Nikke had somehow accumulated more chips than Holly and was clearly the victor. How? Holly leaned back in her chair, impressed. I can't believe you managed to cheat. If you can't prove it was cheating, it's not cheating. You know a doctor in northern Wisconsin who was banned from casinos for counting? You actually know someone who's been banned for doing that? That's so cool. You always hear about it, but you never, like, actually know, like, see the people, know that they exist. That's awesome. Also, good. Gambling bad. That person should never go to a casino again. Holly hadn't intended to let her guard down against Nikke. She had just misjudged her skill level. The older woman had made use of her own years of experience and acting talents to feign inexperience. It had been a ploy designed to mask her skills and fool Holly into complacency, and Holly had fallen for it utterly. Nikke winked at her. I am an actress by profession, after all. I wonder how Ilya is going to handle the entertainment market changing because of movies. Is she gonna stay in what, Broadway? Or is she gonna go to Hollywood? Wait, is Broadway in Hollywood? Wait, how does this work? Does anyone know how celebrities do anything? The theater savants, where do they do their theater? New York? Chicago? Where's Broadway? That is the theater people, right? Broadway is New York. Okay, so Broadway is the theater people in New York. Chapter 7, The Shadow. Well then, Nikke continued, I take it you'll be willing to answer my question? Holly nodded. That was the deal. Or that was the deal. Good girl. Now, I realize it might be insensitive to ask about this, but King didn't happen to leave anything in your care 7 years ago, did he? Holly cast her mind back to her last memory of her father and felt a slight twinge of sadness thinking about what had happened to him after it. The pain of his loss had subsided since she met Jack and would likely continue to do so, but it would be a lie to say that it had completely gone. She racked her brain seeking an answer to Nikke's question and quickly realized that the other woman was probably asking about the jeweled Eastern-style necklace that she wore around her neck. Interesting! Why is this jeweled Eastern-style necklace that she wore around her neck so important? Is it an artifact? Nikke, are you a Grossritter? Frost, jump into conclusions. Frost, you got too much going on in your head. Empty it. Head empty. This, Holly said, showing her the pendant. He gave it to me when he came to visit for the last time. Nikke was silent for a moment. Thank you. That's all I wanted to know. She rose from the stool. Well then, I suppose I should be going. I wouldn't want to keep Leonard waiting. Her farewell said, she handed a tip to the bar's owner and excited with a beguiling sweep. and exited with a beguiling sweep through the door. The punks watched her departure in silence, none daring to break her spell even after she was gone. After Nikke had left, Holly resumed her usual work. Time ticked by as she wiped down tables and busied herself. She sighed. Jack sure is late. It had been almost an hour since he had left to run his errands. She wasn't concerned about him, though. She'd bet her boots that he was just off somewhere slacking or messing about. She stepped outside through the back entrance to take out the garbage. Just as she did, a great shadow filled the alley, blanketing her in darkness. Hey, hey, guess who's back? Hey, hey, hey! Agate! Came the loud call of none other than Jack. His voice was almost drowned out by the shriek of the door as he flung it open. One look at him proved Holly's suspicions on his tardiness correct. He had far more shopping bags than he should have. Huh? Where'd Holly go? He asked, noticing her absence. The owner glanced around. Now you mention it, I haven't seen her since she went to take the garbage out earlier. Jack was suddenly overcome by a great sense of foreboding. He hurried out the back entrance, but only a collection of scattered garbage bags awaited him. Bags? And a very conspicuously placed card. Not Phantom Thief B. On its front was a simple message. We have Holly. Alright, Nikke, are you against us? If you want her back, come to the designated place. Leonard, it was her! Dang it! Jack's angry cry echoed in the empty alley, his face a thundercloud. He crushed a card in his fist, and he was ready to ult! What is your S-craft, Jack? What's up with Leonard and Nikke? What are they doing? Dang it, Bobby! Black and white. The designated place alluded to on the card was one of the largest and well-known racetracks in all of Calvard. Part of its fame was due to the fact that it permitted gambling on its races. Of course, to the fact that it permitted and this attracted a large number of visitors. Furthermore, today was one of the track's biggest races of the year, a day where many highly skilled teams of racers gathered to compete. It was a popular event, and the number of spectators was even greater than usual. The payouts for those who gambled on the races were bigger as a result, too. So, what do they need Holly for? And why is that pendant or necklace important? Stepping out onto the track, Jack sighed. Blech. Sure brings back memories. As he surveyed the familiar grounds, he found himself reminiscing about the times King had brought him and Leonard there to hone their gambling instincts all those years ago. Leonard was the one who had predicted winners correctly the most often. He had spent a lot of time analyzing the outcomes of past races and bet large sums on the cars most likely to win, and as a result of relying on safe bets like those, though, his payouts tended to be comparatively low. King often used to laugh at him for it, always remarking, "Where's the fun in that?" Leonard tried to game the system? Uma Musume? Yes, but car girls instead. Just imagine. Dale earned her junior's car as a car girl in an anime instead of horses. Dale Earnhardt. Might not ironically play that if made. Heck yeah. Dale Earnhardt. And that's the only racer I know. King, meanwhile, used his brilliant instincts and powers of observation to guide him and successfully predicted the outcome of one race after another. Of the three of them, it was he who consistently earned the most Mira. Mira mentioned. They come out with the F1 breeds. I don't know those names, but they're probably F1 racers. Heck yeah. That sound. Cars. If the car girls aren't making those sounds with their mouths as they're running, I'm mad. Why isn't there a race? Is there a race car anime yet? Like literally just people. I mean, there are racing anime, but they haven't done like a high school club with girls that do race cars, which is like the popular thing to do with big kind of different kind of sports. Like this ridiculous, way out of scope for a high school club, but they're doing it anyways. Where it's this network of schools around the country that have all these racetracks built because this club is so big. Your high school had a drag race team? That's crazy. No way. So King made the most Mira because he bet the best. For Jack's part, his interest lay in winning big on a single bet. He lost money far more often than the other two, but occasionally displayed even greater gambling intuition than King himself, and sometimes won over 100 times the Mira he bet. Wait, does that mean Jack is the 1%? Whoa! Guys, Jack is the 1% that keeps playing until he... That keeps playing until he wins. He's not the 99% that stop. Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-ba. High speed etwa. I heard it pronounced because I saw an advertisement for it yesterday. How is etwa? Etui? Etwai? Etwa? Etwai? Etuli? Etoil? Etoil? Etoi? Etwa? E-twai. The first time, etwa? Okay. Could tell when the team was meeting because of how loud the exhaust was. Oh, the high school drag race team. Just the whole school starts vibrating. Etoile means star. Cool. High-speed star. Racing! So Jack would do big bets on single things, lose a lot of Mira, but then win big. While he stood there mulling over those decade-old wins and losses, several men in black suits approached him. Presumably they were Leonard's subordinates. "Please allow us to escort you," one said politely. Jack followed. Eventually, he found himself in a VIP room encased in thick glass. He gave the occupants inside a very close and personal view of the racetrack outside. In it sat Leonard, Nikke, and a loosely bound Holly. Holly! Without thinking, he made a dash towards her, but was quickly stopped by the men who brought him there. Each held a gun. Now, no need to be so hasty, Leonard laughed. Missing an apostrophe, or yeah, missing a hyphen? Yeah, hyphen. No, an apostrophe. Yeah, missing an apostrophe here. I'm glad you could make it, Jack. I've got some real fun in store for you today. Leonard, you son of a gun! Jack's furious expression was a stark contrast to Leonard's playful tone. Finally saying what you truly think about me, Jack. I'm glad. Leonard looked genuinely satisfied. Jack shot a glance over Nikkei's direction. I can't believe you're seriously helping him with this. I'm afraid so, she replied simply before drawing closer to Leonard. As I'm sure you've already worked out, our aim is the Joker that King left Holly over there. Leonard continued, turning the jewel from Holly's necklace over and over between his fingers. Jack had indeed surmised as much, but why is it important? When Jack won the battle against King 7 years prior, King had given him a code of sorts that he wanted him to pass on to Holly. That code was intended to unlock the Joker. Unlock it? Is it an artifact? The Joker that King had once secretly kept on him. At the time, Jack hadn't understood the meaning of what he was being asked to do, but he did now. King was well known in the underground. He had all kinds of connections, but those ties weren't just limited to the less savory of players. Many of the people he was connected to moved both inside and outside of the underworld. Tell me, Jack, Leonard said. If the underworld is black and the world outside it is white, which do you think the world of politics is? Gray! I don't know. Jack snorted. Heck if I know. As black as can be, Leonard said matter-of-factly. Remember how I said Leonard might be a good guy, like in chapter 3 or something? And he's not a good guy anymore. He was a politician. I should have known. He made an offhand gesture. King was a smart man. A calculating man. This jewel here. This is a memory quartz. And one full of information on the people he knew. People in the criminal underworld, public faces who have connections in it themselves. The power this information holds is nothing short of incredible, and I intend to use it to keep moving up the ranks as a politician. If these stories are true, memory quartz existed over 7 years ago. I thought those were a very relatively new thing. Like 2 to 3 years new. What existed? Memory quartz, apparently. Got them orbital thumb drives. You see this thing around my neck? This is what Holly has. Given to her by her father. That she left for him. He left for her. An orbital thumb drive. Dale Earnhardt Jr. rounds the last bet. And it's just a girl going vroom vroom. No! This has to be made. Fan art has to be made of this. Oh my goodness. Someone has to turn the big NASCAR moments into anime whammon. Even in CS1, memory quartz were still very new. Because memory quartz were like a big thing in 0 with Joachim Gunter's information. But in Sky, they were also very, very new. But I guess they could could have been around 7 years ago. Very early memory quartz. The power this information holds is nothing short of incredible, and I intend to use it, to keep moving up the ranks as a politician. And as for that, Jack, he continued, I need the code that you, and only you, know. Interesting. Jack was silent for a moment. I'm surprised you know all of that. I take it this is your doing, Nikke. But of course, she confirmed. I want him to spread his wings and fly too, after all. Spread his wings and fly? Jack repeated with a disbelieving sigh. That's what you call this? Preying on people? King's daughter no less, for a bit of political advantage. He left that data behind to protect Halle from harm. What's the point in being promoted if you have to take advantage of a father's love for his daughter to do it? Jack's words resonated strongly with Halle, but they fell on deaf ears when it came to Leonard and Nikke. They'd already come this far, why stop? I can't say I don't have a soft spot for that idealism of yours, Nikke said finally. But if you're afraid of using others for your own goals, you're never going to get anywhere in life. You'll forever remain a powerless child. Leonard laughed. Forget it. No amount of logic will get through to him. Still, I'd feel guilty taking everything from you without completely beating you into submission first. Gotta give you a chance to fight back, after all. So here's what I propose, Jack. We'll have a little gambling competition. If you win, you can have Halle back. If I win, you'll give me that code. Simple, right? Jack considered it. This was the biggest bet of his life, probably. Leonard was smart, but he was also very cautious. It was clear from his aura of confidence that he was pretty certain that he would win. Jack, however, had no intention of backing down. What if Jack bets on himself and he goes and races? Thus began their great wager over the outcome of the day's races with Halle's fate on the line. Halle's fate? Halle has to die for it? I don't know why. Chapter 9, Good and Evil. There was roughly an hour until the first race of the day was scheduled to begin, and so they agreed to use that time to formulate their strategies. Jack was led to another room by Leonard's men. He was also accompanied by Halle. Hang on, let me write down, like, important characters so that when they show up in the game, inevitably, I remember. Leonard, evil guy who wanted Halle's Joker. The memory quartz left by her father that has information on just about everything in the underworld. Big players and their connections. All for political gain. Nikke. An ex of Jack. Also a famous actor in the relatively new movie theater scene. She worked with Leonard because she wanted to see him, in quotations, fly. Be successful. There was roughly an hour until the first race of the day was scheduled to begin, and so they agreed to use that time to formulate their strategies. Jack was led to another room by Leonard's men. He was also accompanied by Halle, who would serve as his advisor. Heck yeah, Halle Freed. Not really. Leonard's advisor would naturally be Nikke. I take it just running away isn't an option? I mean, I'm free and all, Halle said once in the room. Jack shook his head. Even if we did manage to get away, which isn't especially likely, he's not the kind of guy to just let this go. If this method doesn't work, he'll just do something worse. Worse for us, of course. Yeah, I suppose you're right, Halle said. Okay, forget it. I just had to ask. As Jack noted, however, the odds of them being able to run away weren't Oh, this is Halle. Okay, forget it. Just had to ask. As Jack had noted, however, the odds of them being able to run away weren't particularly promising to begin with, as Leonard's men were likely to be everywhere. They pondered their predicament for a moment. Halle broke the heavy silence. Hey, Jack? Has Leonard always been a bad guy like this? Jack couldn't help but smile slightly at the childish way she phrased her question. As far as he was concerned, the vast majority of gamblers... Hi, Pocket! Himself included were, to some degree or another, bad guys. He knew what she meant, though. Both he and King had been part of the criminal underworld, but they had their morals and lines that they wouldn't, under any circumstances, cross. Back in the day, that had been true of Leonard and Nikke, too, but now... So they weren't then. I wonder what changed them. Jack had a pretty good idea of the answer. King's death 7 years prior. After that, Jack had lost his drive, his passion. His despondency had in turn caused Nikke to become disappointed in him and leave his side. Leonard, meanwhile, found a new life of his own, away from gambling. It wasn't long after that the news of Leonard's move to politics reached Jack's ears. It was a transition that made sense to Jack, too. Leonard had always been one who loved flashiness, loved to stand out. In short time, though, less pleasant rumors began to spread about him. The whispers never left the realm of hearsay, but the content was enough to make Jack concerned. Bribes, suspicions involving organized crime. It was often said that power corrupted, but Jack hadn't expected it of someone he knew so well. Nikke's really pretty, though, Halle said abruptly. You sure you're completely over her? Flustered, Jack could only gape for a second before stuttering. What makes you think I wouldn't be? Of course I am! His expression told a different story, though, and Halle immediately regretted pressing him on the subject. No. Hope you're having a good break, Pocket. I'm doing great. You have vacation tomorrow? How long's your vacation? Have any plans? Hope it's fun for you. Also, do I have very good Fox up here? I have good Fox. Okay, turn that off. Friday until Monday? Let's go. Hope you have fun. Anyway, Jack said, this isn't going to be easy while he has Nikke on his side. There are many who call her the goddess of victory. Wait. 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 Nikke is the Greek goddess of victory. Oh, so that's why the gacha game is called that, and therefore that's why Nikke in this is also the goddess of victory. It's just a Greek thing. Okay. That's hilarious. Okay, cool. Awesome. It's just a fact. Nikke is the goddess of victory regardless of what franchise she's in. Thank you, Falcom, for once again using a lot of Greek mythology. There are many who call her the goddess of victory for the luck she brings to men. Oh, there are many who call her the goddess of victory for the luck she brings to men. Just hanging out with them gives them... Stretch! Goddess of victory, huh? I'm guessing you're one of those men too. Victory, Jack. He couldn't deny it. She was completely right. Nikkei's gambling skills were just as good as Jack or Leonard's, and whenever she and Jack had worked as a team, they had never been defeated. Holly looked intrigued when he mentioned their teamwork. You guys were Griffs together? He nodded, and it seemed as though there was more she wanted to ask, but she dropped it and changed the subject. You aren't going to look at all the race data they gave us, then? Nah, I follow the races here as it is, so I pretty much know all the stuff already. Besides, numbers don't tell the whole story. You gotta get a read of the atmosphere out on the track if you really want to score big. Looks like we'll have to wing the first one blind, though. So Jack's gonna go stay with his roots, his old ways, and gamble big and not safe. A quick glance at the clock confirmed his dismay. The start of the first race was rapidly approaching. Chapter 10. The rules. 15 minutes before the first race was scheduled to start, Jack and Holly made their way back to the VIP room, where they came face to face with Leonard and Nikkei. The rules of the competition were simple. Each side would begin with 100,000 mira. If it is equivalent to yen, it's roughly $10,000. Give or take what the conversion rate is on any given day. I think? No, it's $1,000. No, it's $1,000. It's $1,000. Sorry, $1,000. Ish. For each race, each side must purchase one betting ticket. No more, no less. Furthermore, 12 oval cars would compete in each race. The types of betting ticket available, meanwhile, were as follows. Is there cheating? Leonard's cheating? Probably cheating. He's rigged a race. 1. Show. To win, the chosen car needed to come in either first, second, or third place. This bet type had the highest chances of winning, and as a result, the payout was the lowest as well. Interesting. Approximately 1,000? Yeah. Whenever I convert yen to USD, I just go out 2 digits from the end and put a dot for the cents, and then whatever, and I know it's... Yeah, just move 2 decimals. And I know it's less... I know that it's less money than what that conversion goes to, because it usually just is less, but it's just easy. It's the easy one. Oh, it's 680? Okay, I gotta start having it now. Anyways, show. First, second, or third place. Easy to win, but 2, the second rule, it probably trumps the first rule. Win. To win, the chosen car needed to come in first. This bet type was less likely to be successful than a show bet, but still relatively likely compared to the others. As such, the potential winnings were relatively low. So, Jack's not doing either of these. 3. Exacta. To win, the chosen 2 cars needed to come in first and second place. The bettor had to also accurately predict which came first and which came second. Okay. This bet type was one of the more difficult ones, and as such, potential winnings were relatively high. Trifecta. You have to get, I'm guessing you have to guess all first, second, and third. Similar to Exacta, except the bettor needed to predict in order which cars would come first, second, and third. That's insane. Is this real betting right here, though? Is this really how they do it? There's, like, people who actually think they can guess the first, second, and third place people in races, like horse races and car races. That's weird. This bet type was the least likely to be successful and therefore paid the highest dividends. And therefore... Oh... Maybe is the one Jack will do, but there's more. 5. Exacta box! Alright, guys, let's get into betting. The box mentioned. Like an Exacta, the bettor needed to predict the cars that would come first and second. Unlike a regular Exacta, however, these could be in either order. Okay, so this one's easier. So Jack's probably going for a trifecta. This bet type was more likely to pay out than an Exacta, but because of that, it paid less as well. Trifecta box... Except the 3 cars could come in any order. It's paid out more than an Exacta box, but less than a regular trifecta. Jack and Leonard would each buy a ticket and then show it to the other before the race began. There was no limit to the amount of Mira that each could bet on one race, so long as they could afford to bet it. If either of them ran out of Mira, the other would be the victor. In all, 7 races were to take place that day. Oh my goodness. With 4 in the first half and 3 in the second. The races in the second half, the last in particular, paid the highest dividends. Each race usually took about 10 to 15 minutes. Every car was also obliged to make at least 1 pit stop to charge their car's EP and change tires. I'm writing this down because it's so benign and lore cool. It's just like yeah, of course it needs to recharge its energy points, just like people with their orbments. Because it's an orbital powered car, it needs EP. The same thing we're always dealing with when we're fighting things and monsters and we're casting arts. It's so cool. That's like the X01 or whatever engines that the Arce has. They have to recharge. That's why they have several engines in one ship, so that one can turn off and recharge while the other ones are powered on. But in this case, it's cars. Charge their car's EP so they can quick charge EP. And that must mean you can like, oh, I guess they just throw some EP charges on that thing. Yeah, like we can use EP charges on our orbital units. Why can't you use them on cars? Cars, orbital, just like all orbital devices, require EP charging. Cool. I love little lore things like that, little world building things. Like it makes sense. Like you can extrapolate from the way that orbments work, that's how cars would work, but you never really think about it too much because when you're playing, like orbments are a game mechanic, but also they're talked about in universe, and the way they work is canon. Well, as far as like the mechanics about them, I don't know if the Lost Arts are very canon. I have no idea if bringing the sun down to the earth to kill a cryptid is very canon. It probably is, but it's so weird. Like, is Tita using a satellite cannon to beam the earth? Canon? I have no idea. It certainly is a cannon, but is it canon? Gosh darn, get off my glasses. There we go. Okay, geeking out about orbital power is over. Completing these actions swiftly and efficiently added another element to the challenge of competition. Large groups and corporations sponsored the teams participating in the race, and the results had implications not just for the teams themselves, but for countless powerful figures and groups in the Republic, who used the races as a proxy for their pride and reputations. Oh, sponsors! They sponsor the cars! When you see a NASCAR race, you see the cars are plastered with sponsors. The winning teams were also rewarded with vast amounts of Mira. The rules confirmed and agreed upon, Jack and Leonard purchased their first betting tickets, and the battle between them finally began. So it's going to come down to the last bet, where Jack bets everything on the with a trifecta and wins. I spoiled it for you guys. Chapter 11, the first half. Before the beginning of the race, Jack and Leonard showed one another what betting tickets they had purchased. Jack, after asking Holly for her opinion, eventually settled on placing 10,000 Mira on a trifecta of cars 5, 1, and 3. Straight to the trifecta, he's gonna stick to his grounds here. His reasoning was that cars 5 and 1 had the highest total number of races won, while 3 had shown a lot of potential in recent races. His bet was relatively safe and grounded. Safe? A trifecta is not safe! What are you talking about? Relatively safe and grounded in logic. Okay, relatively, I guess. Compared to just randomly choosing 3 people, he'd use a little bit of logic. But with just enough of an element of unpredictability to keep things interesting. Jack, you're supposed to be winning, not keeping things interesting. Seeing his choice, Leonard laughed, remarking, "Someone hasn't changed." It's not even a trifecta box. He chose a trifecta. He's choosing the order that these people win in. His ticket, meanwhile, was an exacta box on cars 1 and 3. Interesting. Jack also chose 1 and 3, but in a certain order, on which he had placed a 20,000 Mira bet. Jack was surprised. The Leonard he knew would have gone for an exacta box on cars 1 and 5. The newcomer that's been doing well. I wonder if he's been paid off. Or perhaps pushed his luck slightly and gone for an exacta on cars 5 and 1. Leonard, however, had defied expectations by going for 1. The second most popular car, and the recently successful car 3. If anything, Jack thought that was the kind of bet King would have made. Realizing what was on Jack's mind, Leonard's smile widened. My time in politics has taught me a lot of things, Jack. Like how to swindle. I mean, manipulate. Money laundering. 15 minutes later, the result of the first race came in. Car 3 had come in first place, followed by 1. Then car 5 in third. Thanks for hanging out, Pocket. Hope work goes well for you and have a good vacation. Car 3 had, it seemed, shown its potential yet again. As a result of the outcome, Leonard won his bet, while Jack lost. Yeah, Jack was just barely off. Jack's total Mira decreased to 90,000, while Leonard's increased to almost 150,000. Nikke giggled. Seems we're off to a good start. Leonard drew her in close and whispered in her ear. All thanks to you. Yeah, it's rigged. Jack averted his eyes. Holly tugged on his sleeve to get his attention. Don't worry, Jack. We're only just getting started. Thanks for the holler of confidence, Holly. Has Jack said, I'm Jack and it's gambling time? Not quite. He's probably gonna alt and do that soon. He's gonna use his S-craft to gamble and time it. Pretty soon. Probably in the second half of the races. Hi, Jen. No matter what she said, though, there was a 60,000 Mira difference in their totals right off the bat, and that was a significant difference. The second race began. Jack once again placed 10,000 Mira on a trifecta, while Leonard went with a much more certain show bet. This time, however, he placed all of the 50,000 Mira he had won from the first race on it. Once more, Jack's bet fell short, and his pool of Mira dropped to 80,000. Leonard, meanwhile, was successful and a tech in time and boosted his earnings to over 170,000 Mira. Leonard now had twice the amount that Jack did. The third race began. For a third time, Jack placed 10,000 Mira on a trifecta. Leonard went for a slightly more risky bet than usual and wagered 20,000 Mira on an exacta. This time, both men lost their bets. Finally, it was time for the last race in the first half to begin. Jack, seemingly undeterred by his continual losses, once again staked 10,000 Mira on a trifecta. Wow, the trifecta must be really profitable if you actually win. And that's what Jack's good at, winning big every so often, apparently. Just through luck. Or alting. Or S-crafting. Leonard could only sigh at Jack's refusal to learn from his mistakes, but Jack paid him no mind. For his part, Leonard went for another exacta, but this time he placed 30,000 Mira on it. Leonard won his bet, and Jack lost his. The race over, the first half came to an end. Jack was left with only 60,000 Mira, while Leonard had increased his winnings to over 240,000 Mira. Roughly 4 times the amount Jack had left. Luck sure seems to be on my side today, huh, Jack? Jackie boy! Leonard taunted. Jack said nothing. There was a roughly hour-long break between the first and second halves. After beckoning Holly to follow him, Jack walked quickly out of the room and over to their waiting area. Barely through the doorway, Holly threw up her hands and cried, "What are we gonna do, Jack? If we don't turn things around fast, we're screwed! We need to start making safer bets next time and..." "That's not how he does it, Holly." Jack cut her off. "Nah. Even if we were to win bets like that, they're not going to be enough to close the gap between us. As soon as we start thinking like that, this gamble's as good as lost." Well, sure, but... still... Contrary to Jack's seeming casualness, however, he didn't really have any better ideas than Holly did. He was racking his brain for one just as much as she was. What he did know was that the gap between he and Leonard was too great for them to be able to win based on instinct alone. Holly suddenly brightened. "Oh, yeah, I did notice something that stood out in the race data." "Oh?" As a general rule of thumb, betting on popular and proven teams tended to lead to relatively low payouts if they won, while unpopular and generally unsuccessful teams gave much greater payouts. Races held at this track were somewhat different, though. In particular, major events like the one currently underway had higher than normal payout rates, meaning that bettors received much more than they otherwise would. As one example of this, generally, teams that consistently lost accordingly paid the highest dividends on the off chance that they won, and far from deterring bettors. This often attracted lots of people who wanted to bet on underdogs and win big. In theory, large numbers of people betting on such underdogs would make the potential payouts decrease, but the payout rates were adjusted to make sure they didn't fall too much in order to keep things exciting for the gamblers who were betting. Even factoring in all of that, Holly went on, there was one team whose potential payout seemed odd. Jack had a look, and sure enough, he found himself agreeing. It wasn't odd to the extent that the average person would notice, but she wasn't wrong. The driver for that team was a man named Carlos, a real veteran racer who held the current official record for the most consecutive victory. Carlos! No idea who he is. Who? Who is? He's the GOAT? Yeah, he's the GOAT. He's called Legend. It was an achievement that had earned him the nickname Legend. In recent years, however, he'd stopped winning at all, a fact that had led to more and more people calling him Legendary Loser instead. What a sad, sad guy. I bet we can make him win. He was also an old friend of King's. Jack himself had met the man too. Unless he's the one... recent losses. Maybe we can make him win. He's a huge underdog. Jack chewed over her finding for a minute, then said, "Thanks for the tip, Hala. I'm just gonna step out for a bit, okay? Soon as our break's over, head back on over to the VIP room without me." Oh, wait a second! She shouted after him, but he paid her no mind and strolled nonchalantly out of the room. Now that that's over, Jen, you said I gotta look at South Fox Island. What do you know about South Fox Island? What does that mean? What did you see? Did you zoom in further? Did you see some wiki stuff? What's there? For people who don't know, Jen recently sent me a screenshot of a North Fox Island and a South Fox Island. And because foxes, they're important to me. It's an island. Oh, okay. That's true, I suppose. In Lake Michigan. It's in Lake Michigan! So, oh, I understand. If it's in Lake Michigan, it's less of an island and more of a little lump of dirt. You know, it's more of a, yeah, less of an island, more of a little lump of dirt in the lake. That probably has a few trees on it. Maybe some sand. Now I understand. When you sent me that screenshot, I did not know it was in Lake Michigan. I assumed it was like somewhere out in the ocean. So they were big enough to have some kind of, like, maybe a village or something on it. Only accessible by boat. But nah, it's a Great Lakes island. We went up to a scenic overlook today, and it just so happens that you can see the Fox Islands. Heck yeah. Send me the photos, please. Please, I want to see it, please. Becky, please, let me smash. Becky, let me smash. Gotta find your phone? No problem. I'll keep reading in the meantime. Chapter 12, the second half. Jack's probably going to go speak with Carlos. 10 minutes before the start of the 5th race, Jack had yet to return. "I hope he hasn't gone and run off," said Leonard, his voice I hope he hasn't gone and run off, said Leonard, his voice heavy with scorn. "He wouldn't dream of it," Holly retorted. Nikke laughed. "Apparently not. Here he comes now." Jack ambled over. "Sorry," he said. "I had to take a leak." That's a lie. DMs, media, wherever you feel you're most comfortable. Media's cool too. Jack's carefree manner seemed to annoy Leonard, but it filled Holly with relief. He had been so subdued in the first half that to see him back to his old self gave her confidence, until she remembered that they hadn't even bought their betting ticket. Exasperated, she had hustled him to the counter to get one. The 5th race began. Continuing his pattern from the first half, Jack went for a trifecta. Unlike the first half, however, he only bet 5,000 mira on it. Here I was thinking you'd get all confident, then you go and lower your bet. Leonard radiated confidence, but deep down, he knew exactly what Jack was doing. Jack was going to conserve as much money as he could until the final race and then bet it all on that. So 5,000, is that the minimum bet, maybe? Knowing that, He realized he couldn't afford to let up his offensive and decided to bet a massive 100,000 mira on a win bet. Oh, a win bet. So he thinks number 3 is going to win? Is that it? The team he stacked his wager on was an outside chance as well. In the end, the team Leonard bet on was victorious, while Jack lost his 5,000 mira. As a result, Jack was down to a mere 55,000 mira, while Leonard's total exceeded 500,000. The gap between them continued to grow larger. The 6th race began. Once again, Jack placed 5,000 mira on a trifecta. Leonard, meanwhile, didn't seem to be feeling especially confident about the race and put a mere 10,000 mira on the save exacta box bet. I mean, he's already got a 450,000 mira lead. The race that took place was easily the most intense of the day thus far, and had the spectators on the edge of their seats. Successful winners on trifecta tickets earned over 100 times what they bet. But both Jack and Leonard had backed the wrong cars. If only we picked the right cars on that one! Yes, Holly, that's how gambling works. That's how this works. Cried a frustrated Holly. If Jack shared her dismay, though he didn't show it, his thoughts were all for the final race. The 7th race of the day was about to begin. Having lost every bet he had made so far, Jack down to a mere 50,000 mira. Leonard's winnings now totaled roughly 500,000 mira, even though he too had lost the 6th race. In order to catch up, Jack would need to make a bet that paid out over 10 times his wager amount. Even more if Leonard was to win his own bet. Incidentally, the two had agreed not to show each other which betting tickets they had gone for until after the race had ended. That's exciting. This was in order to make things more interesting. According to Leonard, anyway. The starting light shifted from red to green, and the race that would determine everything began. Chapter 13! The price of a soul. Just a sec. I have to go potty. Bleh. I'll be right back. Then we can get into the hype last moment. Alright, I'm back. It's time for more reading. Chapter 13. Right back to it. The Price of a Soul. It quickly became apparent that this final battle was going to be even more intense and unpredictable than the 6th race had been. First, Car 4, which had been the favorite to win, had to withdraw partway through due to mechanical trouble. The second and third most popular cars, 3 and 6 respectively, also had their own share of problems. And while they were able to continue the race, their performance was far from their full capabilities. It's an upset! Things are going wrong! Thanks to these technical difficulties, there were essentially only 9 of the original 12 cars still in the race. Of those 9, Car 1 had the highest odds of winning, but Car 5 stubbornly refused to allow it to overtake, and Car 1 was unable to get into the lead. The cars at the front of the race were 7, 2, and 12. While they generally held that order, they were constantly jockeying for position. Furthermore, Car 12 was driven by none other than Carlos, the legendary loser. That in itself generated a lot of excitement, as it had been quite some time since he had been anywhere near this close to winning a major race. As the heated race neared the end, the final corner that would determine everything approached. Just as they began the bend, a gap opened up between cars 7 and 2. Whether it was nerves or a lapse in concentration, the drivers of those 2 cars left a space wide enough for Carlos to sneak through, and he seized his chance. With a deft hand at the wheel, Car 12 shot through and took the lead. The race ended. Car 12 was victorious, while Car 7 held on to 2nd place, and Car 2 came in 3rd. Leonard watched all of this unfold with a sour look. "Did you lose?" asked Holly. Her hopes, however, were quickly dashed. He shook his head and laughed. No, I just wasn't expecting a legend to snag first place like that. I did believe he had the goods to get into the top 3, though. His smile widened. You see, I bet on a trifecta box with cars 2, 7, and 12. The payout's 120 times that I staked. That means there was foul play to make the ones who were favorites to win have technical difficulties, mechanical difficulties. Huh. To make matters worse, Leonard had bet 400,000 Mira, meaning that he received 48 million from his ticket. Wait, how does this work again? Wait, how does the math work again? They never explained the actual math, but that is... So if he bet on a trifecta box, and he has 48 million, if Gambler Jack won with just a trifecta, oh, maybe huge. He watched their faces with undisguised smugness. Looks like you two realize now that you never stood a chance in Gehenna of beating me. Yay! They used Gehenna in conversation in place of hell. That's so cool. Nikke giggled at his shoulder. Sure seems that way. The pair oozed confidence. Sure, they had won. Holly's face fell, then stuck her tongue out at them. Nah, we just wanted you to think that. Jack grinned at the puzzled look on Leonard's face. What the lady said. We were just pretending to be surprised. Then, you didn't. Leonard couldn't seem to work out what they were trying to imply, but Nikke quickly understood. Her painted lips compressed into a flat line. I put my money on a trifecta, Jack clarified. 12, 7, and 2. Get it now? That's 1,100 times what I bet. 1,100? Okay. This time it was Leonard and Nikke who were stunned into silence. Tickets that paid out over 100 times the bet made were rare enough even at this racetrack, but tickets that paid out over 1,000 times the bet were almost unheard of. As a result of his bet, Jack had won 55 million Mira, a total pot that was significantly higher than Leonard's 48,100,000 winnings. Oh, what? How did you? It was Jack's turn to laugh at the furious expression on Leonard's face. You do realize that asking me that is basically admitting wrongdoing on your part, right? He said. But if you really want to know, I'll tell you. It's simple. I bribed Carlos. You did what? I got a friend of mine to get a ticket just like this one. The money for it was 100,000 Mira he'd gathered on the spot in my name. Multiply that by 1,100 and you get 110 million. I told Carlos he could have the lot. So Carlos just doesn't want to win anymore, but for big money he will. What? But I've been sending him. Why would he throw all that away for a one-off sum like that? However big. Jack made a tisking sound. You might be able to buy people's hearts with money for a while, Leonard, but there's no amount of Mira that will let you buy their souls. The fact that Carlos accepted my offer is pretty solid proof of that. I'm guessing he wanted out a long, long time ago. Ah, he was chained to Leonard, I see. What do you know? Leonard gestured angrily, but then grudgingly added. Pretty impressed, though. Admittedly, he wasn't alone, but it takes some skill to manipulate the outcome of races from right at the back. Oh, Legend hasn't lost his touch, that's for sure. It was at this point that Holly spoke up. But if you'd arranged the outcome from the start, why did you go for a box instead of just a trifecta? And why not go all in and bet your last 100,000 Mira, too? Leonard looked away. Well, just to be on the safe side. He always played it safe. Jack's suspicions had proven right. Leonard knew as well as anyone that it was impossible to completely remove all unpredictable elements from a bet. As such, his way was to excise as many as humanly possible and then take the surest and safest path to victory. He hadn't changed at all. Huh. Makes sense, Holly said. Too bad it cost you the victory, though. If you'd gone all in, you would have won, too. Leonard's head snapped back around. What? He quickly did the sums in his head and realized the truth. If he'd bet his entire 500,000 Mira, he would have won 60 million Mira! Comfortably beating Jack's 55 million. It's a mistake! Leonard blurted out. Mix-up. The subordinate I asked to buy the ticket must have been bet the wrong amount. I didn't lose. I couldn't possibly lose. Leonard's a stupid butt. Save it, Leonard. Nikke interjected coolly. You messed with the most popular car in the race, didn't you? He did an excellent job of hiding the evidence, but no amount of hiding is going to be enough when it comes. Someone already knows what you're going to do and can watch out for you. She pointed a perfect, lacquered nail at him. You've been getting away with things for a long time, but not anymore. They all stared at her. What? What are you talking about? Leonard sputtered. What are you suggesting? It's probably faster to just show you, she said. Come on in. Wait. Who is Nikke? Wait a second. At Nikkei's signal, a number of men in black suits entered the VIP room. They weren't Leonard's men, though. Instead, they surrounded him and his underlings. Oh, it's one of the gang... the gang... One of the gangs that they're against. The new and the old fighting. This is the end of the line for you, Leonard. We've already taken the rest of your men into custody. Unless this is the police. Leonard wasn't the only one baffled by what was happening. Nikke, what are you? Began a puzzled Jack. With a laugh, Nikke took a pair of glasses from her pocket, placed them on her nose, and addressed him directly. The Rocksmith Agency! I know those people! I should probably introduce myself, shouldn't I? Being an actress isn't my primary occupation. I'm actually a member of the Rocksmith Agency, an intelligence group which answers directly to the president. And she puts on her glasses and she's a different person. Is this the same person that hired Kilika? Is this... This is? Did she go by the name Nikke during that or no? She had a different name. Or was it always Nikke? Who, Kilika? No, this person who hired, this is the person who hired Kilika, right? Or it's just another member of the Rocksmith Agency. Rocksmith hired her. Well, there was a specific person who was in contact with Kilika. I don't remember. Jack and Holly could only gape at her in shock. Finale! The aftermath! The Rocksmith Agency appears! The relatively new... Through Cochrane. Oh yeah, Cochrane! That's right, Cochrane, which is the liberal Calvard ambassador. Now, the Rocksmith Agency is relatively new, within the last 2 years of in-lore time. Agency made by the president of Calvard as an intelligence agency. Finale, the aftermath. Leonard was led away without a struggle by Nikke's elite subordinates. He stood accused of fixing all 7 of the races that took place that day, as well as hindering many of the teams who took part in them, and damaging their property, along with a host of other crimes. Either way, it seemed as though he would have a lot to answer for. Unfortunately, it seemed that Carlos, the winner of the 7th race, was also to be tried as a co-conspirator for having gone along with Leonard's plans. A week later, everything was back to normal in the bar, where Jack and Holly spent much of their time in the Eastern Quarter. Everything except the fact that Jack was actually reading a newspaper. Anyway, he was looking at an article about Leonard's arrest. Holly, meanwhile, was pretending to be a bartender. Or rather, practicing being one. Interesting. Oh yeah, she said all of a sudden. Hey Jack, what happened to the 55 million mirror you won anyway? He shook his head sadly. Gone like a bat said. Sad to say. Nikke took it. It was regarded as a mirror obtained through illegal means or some such. So the Rocksmith Agency took that money and now it's theirs. Aw, too bad. You're telling me. The 110 million Mira he had a friend win, meanwhile, hadn't been confiscated, but Jack had already made up his mind that it would go to Carlos one day. It was his after all. You sure you're okay with handing over that memory quartz though? Jack asked her. Interesting. An undercover Rocksmith agency agent who caught Leonard in the act of rigging matches. Holly gave her the memory quartz after the races. Probably not a bad thing, right? That intelligence agency can crack down on the underworld. I'm not sure yet, though. I don't know enough about Calvard. Sure you're okay with handing over that memory quartz, though? Jack asked her. She nodded. Yeah, the last thing I want is someone else after me because of it. After Leonard was apprehended, Jack had left it up to Holly to decide what she wanted to do with the memory quartz full of incriminating information that King had left her. She had elected to hand it over to Nikke. King had intended it to act as a shield for Holly if she ever ended up getting involved in the underworld, but that very safeguard had placed her life in danger. And now an even larger number of people knew it existed. It was simply too dangerous for her to hold on to. Originally, the only ones who knew about the memory quartz existence were Jack and Nikke, although only Jack had known that it had been incorporated into the necklace. Nikke had only found out when Holly told her in the bar. Now that everything was over, Jack couldn't help but suspect that Nikke's true aim all along had been to obtain that and not Leonard's arrest. Probably. Leonard was just convenient. So, what was the code to open that thing anyway? Holly asked. You really want to know? Sure do. Does Nikke know the code, or did they not tell the code? You really want to know? Or you really want to know? Sure do. Jack cleared his throat, embarrassed. It was my beloved Holly. I never met a more doting father than your old man. Taken completely by surprise by his answer, a single tear rolled down Holly's cheek. As a gambler, she was first-rate, but in every other aspect, she was still an ordinary girl. She wiped the tear away and then spoke again, her tone carrying no trace of the sadness she must feel. Hey, Jack. I've got a favor I'd like to ask you. Just as she spoke, however, the door opened again and let out its usual piercing shriek. Through it came Nikke, wearing the glasses she had been when they last saw her, and a pair of casual jeans instead of a fancy dress. Without preamble, she said, Hey there, Jack. Hey there, Jack. I've got a proposal for you. How does working again as a team strike you? Hey! I was just about to ask him that! Cried Holly, not wanting to miss her chance. Jack sighed. The future, it seemed, was full of trouble. Gambler Jack 2 ends with Nikke asking Jack to work as a team. Maybe he will work alongside the Rocksmith agency. And Hala is there too. Cool. Maybe that's it. Well, it's not going to be for probably another 3 games. Maybe we'll get hints about it in the future, but at least 3 games till we get any solid information on it. Overall, it was shorter. Yeah, I believe. Red Moon Rose took me 4.5 hours, I thought. We could install CS3 and do any patches, like 10 patchers that we need to do, just to prepare. Because that is Gambler Jack 2. An interesting outcome. We have some more world building on the underworld in Calvard, the eastern quarter that is full of immigrants who have made it into something resembling where they came from. There's Nikke, the Rocksmith agent, corrupt politicians, and Gambler Jack and Halle are probably going to be working with the intelligence agency in Calvard. Fun! So I need the tables in a small amount and we can go over some settings we need to change. Understood. So I will firstly install CS3. Now, unfortunately, I'm pretty sure CS3 is going to show me characters and spoil me at least on what characters look like. Seems that you missed the book. You missed the book by about... I just finished it 3 minutes ago. Any small recap? So... So, Gambler Jack 2 was... Jack is still hanging out in that same bar that Halle is now working as a waitress in. Halle drags Gambler Jack around. Jack cannot turn down anything she requests because he's weak to her. And so they go and watch a movie. He wants to watch Gunslinger from Hell, but Halle likes love romance stuff. And in the movie theater, they watch a movie with two beautiful actors, an actress and an actor. Afterwards, they go and have some stuff at a cafe, and at that cafe, they are approached by none other than Nikke, the actress that was on the screen, and an ex-lover of Jack, and also Leonard, another person who trained under King, and he's now a politician. Jack also regards Leonard a little highly because he's just a little older than him. He respects his elders, I guess. And Leonard requests Jack follow him. They go to a racetrack where they have a race. And Leonard and Jack race. Jack's about to win, but then Jack, I don't know, he feels bad for Leonard and that he doesn't want Nikke, who he thinks is dating Leonard, to feel embarrassed about his... or he doesn't want Leonard to be embarrassed that he lost in front of his girlfriend, so Jack lets off the gas at the end, and Leonard wins, and Leonard's mad at Jack. Sometime later, they're in the bar again, and Nikke shows up, and they bet, Halle and Nikke bet on asking a question to each other. Nikke wins and asks Halle if her father left her anything, and he did. It was a gem encrusted necklace. That necklace is very important because later we find out after Halle is captured, just very shortly after this betting match, that the necklace is a memory quartz containing a bunch of information about the underworld that King had given her to protect her. But turns out it actually caused her harm because Jack is invited to the racetracks where he is told... what is he told? Bet with me, Leonard says to Jack. And if you win, Halle is free. But if I win, I get the memory quartz. And then they bet. And Jack always bets big, but always loses. But in the end, Jack wins because he bet big all the time. And, you know... he's the 1% that doesn't stop betting until he wins, or something. And Leonard bets safe. So while Leonard won a lot, he didn't win... well, Leonard won many times. He didn't win a lot of money. And Jack, winning only once, won a crap ton of money. But that wasn't the end of it. After we learned about Leonard fixing some races, or most of the races, rigging them, and Jack also figured out how to do that too, so he could win the last match, Nikke revealed her true identity. She is an agent with the Rocksmith Agency, the intelligence agency in Calvard, which we learned about when we learned that Kilika was going to go hang out with them, and then Kilika was in Calvard and stuff. But yeah, that's other stuff. And so Nikke arrested Leonard, and also the driver that he was, one of the drivers that he was he was bribing. And then they took the money that Jack won because it was illegally received through bet fixing or race fixing, whatever you call it. And then after that, Nikke shows up and says, "Hey there, Jack. You want to join me and help me? You want to work together as partners?" And now Halle and Jack are probably going to be working with the Rocksmith Agency, the intelligence agency. Or something like that. Maybe. That's it. There's your recap. Very poor recap, but that's it. Trails of Cold Steel 3. No, don't show me! Oh, I hate you, video game. The splash art screen. If you launch the controller layout tool, there'll be a character spoiler until you hover over some options and then it'll disappear. So if I launch it and then I close my eyes and I swing my mouse around the screen, right? Okay. Also, I'm being spoiled just by the banner on the Steam library page about who is important in this game. Just don't look at it. It's impossible. It's impossible not to see it. Maybe it's a lie and they're not important. Yeah. I mean, there is a couple characters who I'm not sure I know who they are. So that's fun. But for the tool, I'll close my eyes and swing my mouse around until the character disappears. There'll be in-game screenshots, just ignore them. Okay. I'll ignore the screenshots, but you'll tell me what settings to choose. We're at 7%. The game's downloading at like 300 megabytes a second. It should be done in a second or two. Do I have links to what I need to download? You have linked me something. Ah. The cheat tables. Where's this mod from? Go to games. No. Cheat engine stuff. Save CS3. Bonding events. CS3 free cam. It's not really a mod. It's corrected localized voice line. The voice line is corrected? How? What does that mean? Like the voice actor re-recorded it for someone to have them modded in, or they just moved some files around because it was in the wrong place. Nisa recorded a voice line that's 1 second shorter to the cutscene. It's ends a little sooner. Oh. And so this fixes it. CS3. So is there no send patcher for this game? Oh, so you sent the send patcher. There it is. I suppose you'd send me the direct link so I don't get spoiled. I see. To the download. There's probably spoilers in the GitHub. The screenshots and stuff. So I launched the game first, right? Or do I do send patcher first? Send patcher. Okay. Send patcher and then controller layout stuff? Can you show the screen and only look at chat? Maybe. Okay, so send patcher is downloaded. Game's halfway. In the tool, all the options are up to you except the one crucial one, because it's mainly graphics options. Oh, okay, I'll set those to max. Maximum graphics! Send Patcher. Wow. That's so cool. Send Patcher's on 1.3 now. The last Send Patcher I used was 0.8.6. That was for CS2, I think. Or was that? No, it might have been for CS1. I don't know. They keep adding stuff? Yeah. So unzip that. Oh, it's still downloading. Oh, wow. SendPatcher is a... Oh, it's just downloading at a kilobytes per second because Steam is yoinking all 300 megabytes a second. So there's nothing left over for Firefox to download stuff. Yeah, I'm excited to get to CS3. We don't have anything else to do before CS3, do we? Right? We're good. So, okay, a data file right into the folder. Understood. We're going to start anytime. Tomorrow is Friday. Counter-Strike 3? Oh, yeah, CS3. Tomorrow is a Friday. That's a good time to start. Redo the Campanella door in Sky 3. Where he looks at me and goes, "Hi. I see you, player, watching me. Let's break the fourth wall." Oh, the quiz. I mean, we do have extra quiz stuff from Popper and Jen. They made a quiz for me. There's still extra quiz questions on the quiz board. That stuff is all fun. But Cold Steel 3, it's right there around the corner. You have some ideas for the next quiz too? What, can you take the questions that I didn't use from the previous quiz and put them in the new quiz? And start setting up a new quiz we can do soon? You can multitask and play CS3 and the quiz at the same time. Trying to get through an intro scene of a Trails game, which is usually pretty hype, but also being distracted by quiz. You could, but it's not exactly quiz questions. Oh, I'm confused. So, the things that are left over from the quiz we did aren't exactly quiz questions? Oh... They do quiz you in a way. Well, do whatever you think is best. I'll leave that to your discretion. Since you've done all the quizzes so far, you and Jen, I'm sure you have a good idea of what you're doing. And let me know when it's ready, and we can set up a quiz time, a quiz day, like Saturday or Sunday, depending on if it's soon or maybe next week or depending on depending when it's ready. All up to you. Unknown controller support. This game does not yet provide new controller support information. But I have a PlayStation controller. It'll work, just like usual. I'm certain. 93%. Oh, the other mod is, the Send Patcher is finished downloading. We're at 1.3 now. Steam input saves the day. Always. CS3. The folder. Do I have to take the CS3 folder and put the bin and Send Patcher settings in the Cold Steel 3 folder, or do I just run Send Patcher exe? Just run the exe, okay. once it's ready. So send patcher, then controller layout, then the voice mod to fix the voice, the audio file. And then launch game to test. Right? We can go in the in-game settings too if you want, or we can save it for tomorrow. We're gonna go into the in-game settings so we can get hyped. We can see the screen and be like, oh, this is the new music. And I can clap my hands and be all like, yay, I love this. This is joyful. Make me happy. All right, game's ready. Game has been downloaded. CS3. Okay, so Send Patcher. Now, Send Patcher, or is Send Patcher the one with spoilers? No, it's the controller layout, correct? Bleh. Bleh. Okay, so Send Patcher is fine. Well, there might be spoilers in Send Patcher in the screenshots. I just don't focus on them. Send Patcher, go! Now, I'm looking at Trails of Cold Steel 3. I hit patch game. Correct? Okay, CS3. Patch game. I have to find the launcher for CS3 in the Steam folder, correct? Is that what it's telling me to do? Okay, yep. Okay, because I'm not on the GitHub, I don't see the directions. Usually on GitHub, they have like a installation directions. Legend of Heroes, Trails of Cold Steel 3. Am I supposed to click on Send 3 launcher, or? Oh, yes, I am. Okay, right here. Open. Okay, Send Patcher version currently installed. None. Send Patcher version be installed. 1.3. Apply fixes and improvements to the game assets. I will not show details. I don't want any spoilers, but I will check that one. Make turbo turbo mode a toggle instead of a hold. No, I like hold. Don't read them? Oh. Okay, which options do I select then? As is should be fine. Okay. What about disabling motion blur? Won't motion blur make me silly and nauseous? You want turbo to be toggle? No, I like holding. That's what I'm used to. Disable that? Yeah, it says disable the motion blur while running. It's a new option. It feels like a good thing for me. Or does the motion blur actually add something? It's not rotational motion blur. It's like you are going fast motion blur. As insane motion blur? Okay, so I'll reduce it as much as I can. Oh, I can also show mouse cursor. That'd be so nice. I didn't have a mouse cursor in CS1 and 2. It's been so long. We had mouse cursors in the earlier games. It's when running only, and it has some ghosting. And keep the game running since you did do that. Oh, yeah. Keep game running in the background. And how about show mouse cursor? Can I show mouse cursor? Does that actually let me click on stuff or no? I liked in the old games when they had a mouse cursor and it was a specialized, like, special cursor that they made for the game. Well, then I won't show the mouse cursor. And I will hit patch. Patching! Send patcher successfully copied to game directory. Close. Close. Alright, we have installed Send Patcher. Now, I want to take the mod the voice file and override it. CS3, take the data file, copy and paste it. The data folder. Ha ba 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 ba. And paste and overwrite. We're overwriting one file name. One file. Perfect. Then it looks like that's everything there. So now I need to launch the game and be very careful. And choose controller config. Remember not to look at it until you hover over the window. Okay. I will squint my eyes really hard. Launch and say launch controller layout tool. Here I go. Squinting my eyes and... Okay, I'm good. I think I'm good. Okay, I see nothing. I had my hand in front of my eyes and I was squinting and just so I could see like a white square. Presets. Should I go with maximum? Sets all options to the respective of maximum. Be mindful of the fact it includes 8x MSAA with TRSSAA as well as HBAO+. I don't know if I want those. Because options in image quality show some screenshots. Okay. Screen mode. Oh. Windowed. DualShock. Well, I have DualSense, but DualShock works. It is a game. Maybe. I don't want to skip startup logos or intros. Don't skip videos. Autosave, sure. Every 5 minutes. Enable turbo mode feature. Enables the in-game turbo mode feature. This significantly speeds up the game while you hold L3. Perfect. Turbo mode in battle sets the speed up factor to apply when using turbo mode in battle. So it won't skip. Turbo mode won't skip, right? Yeah, so casting animations and S-crafts and stuff. No skips? Perfect. Click on config mouse keyboard controls. I see. Ah, there it is. Disable camera auto centering. Recommended for mouse camera. It also makes sense to use it for my controller because I don't want auto centering. I hate it. It's probably still going to be like CS2 though and CS1 where it still sort of follows the camera. Not as egregious? Perfect. And then save. Save. Controller buttons should already be... Let's see. X is to attack. Yep. Circle is to cancel. Okay. Or walk. Yep. Square is navigation. Yep. Triangle is the camp menu. Yep. Start is pause. Skip. Button prompts is set to controller. Yeah, my DualShock. My PlayStation controller. Select is notes menu. Yep, that works. L1 is switch to left. So switching to character, switch left and switch to right. Perfect. Also probably switch his characters. Left trigger is custom shortcut, which will be configured in game. Right trigger bumper is run. Okay. Alright, right. R2 will be the other custom shortcut configured in game. Left stick, press down is turbo. Oh no. Hang on. I gotta fix that. So right trigger I need to set to turbo. Right trigger is turbo. That's what I'm used to. And then I'll switch left stick press down to custom shortcut. There we go. It switched it automatically. And right stick is also another custom shortcut. Perfect. Shadows can be ultra. Perfect. Shadow distance. High. Shadow filtering. When enabled, shadow boundaries are smooth rather than hard. LT is the better choice. I don't think I had left trigger. I think I had left trigger opening up the recipes in the previous, in CS3, in CS2, I mean. The softness shadows depends on the distance of the shadow caster. Requires ultra or higher. I can do that. Ambient occlusion. HBO plus. Enables high quality content. I'll do that one. Unlimited draw distance. Yes. Higher quality post-processing. Sure, I'll just do everything, and if I have to change it later, I will. 8x MSAA. MSAA... I don't think... Oh, no. Frame rate, I need to limit that to 1. Let's try limiting it to 120. If I have to, I'll limit it to... bugs. If I have to, I'll limit it to 60. Because I know I had to limit CS2 to 60. And field of view. How can I up the field of view, or can I leave it? I like high field of view, but... You can up it? Okay, I'll up to, like, the max. 70. If I want to, I can zoom in. Higher values require slightly more performance. Value of 60 is equivalent to... Oh, okay. I'm going to go with 60 since it's the equivalent value of 90, which is what I'm used to in most games. So MX... anti-aliasing... 8 times MSAA, isn't that really harsh on performance? I could probably turn it off and just have it. Oh, you have it at 8 times? I don't know. I don't know if anti-aliasing really does it do much. Running perfectly on a 1080. Okay, so with a 6900 XT running at 1440p, I should be fine. Save and launch. No, save and quit. Okay. I'm gonna launch the game. $4K or 1080p? 1440p. 2K. Let's see. CS3, is it available yet? Game capture, properties, select CS3. It's windowed, so I will want to set it to full screen. It's locked at 60 despite me having set it at 120. Maybe the menu is locked to 60. Okay, so send patchers installed. We can see in the bottom right. Reen is in a white coat. I'm gonna set it to full screen quick. Hang on. Just let me launch her controller, layout, close my eyes, swing my mouse around. Okay, I'm good. The backstory I can read? Perfect. So, 120 FPS, field of view. Vertical sync, when enabled, synchronizes rendering with display for refresh. Eliminates tearing. Okay, so it will sync it to 140. Perfect. So I'll keep the frame rate unlimited, but then keep vertical synchronization on so I can have 144 frames. And then full screen. Now save and quit. Backstory? I'll do the backstory tomorrow. For now, we'll just get the settings set up, and then we can start CS3 tomorrow. This music is different. Nice America. Interesting. Did the menu quality go down? It's just we're starting to look like modern movie pamphlets or trailers. What do we call it? Arts. It's just like the character on the front. that people like. System! The music sounds really well balanced already. I'm gonna keep it as it is. And if I need to change it later, I will. I don't know anything about the camera sensitivity. Minimap settings. Rotate. Did the minimap rotate for me before? Lower voices just a tad? They are loud? If you say so. What about sound effects? Navigation, display, sure. HUD visibility, always. I like always. Leave it as is and suffer. Okay, I'll put it down 3 ticks then and hope. Active voice settings, wait. Free. Wait or free? What does that mean? What's it waiting for? No idea. There's no, like, descriptors for these settings. So you can interact with stuff while active voice is on. Oh, okay, I'll wait. Auto battle settings. I don't know what normal or continuous. Auto battle? What the heck? Trails, why? I don't want to auto battle. Text language English. Voiceover language English. Display settings. Do I want to go in here? Display settings or no? I think I already configured that. All right, right? Don't look. Don't look. Don't look. There were people on that screen. I only had a glance. I only saw the same character that I saw on the banner on Steam. My Steam library, so we're good. Invert vertical camera. Unless they fixed it, the vertical camera is inverted by default. I sure hope so. By the time I'm given control of the camera, though, I'll be able to save and quit. Also, Reed's looking older. More mature. Contesting game? Yeah. So, button config. All right. Change leader next. Dash, yes. Reset camera. Custom. Okay. Guess that's the custom. I don't need reset camera. Select his notebook. Wait. What about our L2 and R2? They were set as custom. Minimap rotate? Was it fixed in the previous game? I don't know. If it was fixed, then I want it fixed. I don't see anything for L2 and R2. So I don't... How do I choose the custom settings for those? Message history? Oh, they brought message history back? I want to change that to R2, L2. I want to change it to L2, just like... I want to change it to L2, just like in... Just like it's in, Words Are Hard. Just like in Azure and Zero. Apparently, according to the controller settings, L2, R2, left trigger and right trigger are all custom assigned, but you can't assign anything to L2 and R2. Despite that, I don't see any options for L2 and R2. Well, I mean, the up button is fine. I'll try to remember a message history. Item menu and arts menu. Shortcuts to items and arts. That's really nice. Battle autoplay mode. I don't want auto battles. Can I turn this off? Disable. I don't want to auto battle. Nope, not a chance. Down should be map 2, but it doesn't say it there. Oh, okay, down should be map. What is left trigger assigned to? Because it won't let me choose anything for it. What is its default? Is it like recipes like I had set it to in CS2, or is it... It's something you'll have to see. Oh, okay, so it's something new. Understood. But yeah, I turned off select, which was set as battle autoplay mode, because I don't want no auto battle stuff. That's silly. I don't even know what it means yet, but I don't want it. I don't want to have nothing to do with it. All right. There, we set CS3 up. We're gonna start tomorrow. CS3 tomorrow, Friday. Excited? I am. New game. Steam, stop spoiling me with your stupid banner. Did you see the? Just like SpongeBob. Just like SpongeBob. Just like SpongeBob. Worried about me seeing the banner? It's like impossible not to see the banner. If I want to install the game, I have to look at the banner. It's so annoying. This happened with Azure, I think, with Randy and the sniper rifle. Can I like hide the banner? Like, is there a way? It's gonna happen with CS4 as well. Is there a way to change my Steam layout so banners don't show? You can change it. How? I mean, I know I can change the banner, but I have to look at the banner to change the banner. Is there a way to just change the Steam layout so I don't see a banner? I have to see it first. Right. Of course. Of course. It's local. Yeah. I'd have to change a file. Anyways, that was it. That was today's trails. We read Gamblerjack 2. Got some new information about Calvard. I'm ending stream. Tomorrow is CS3. And the music's really nice. I'm fun. CS3. Guys, we finally found CS3. We found the Cold Steel 3. The only way the only way I think would be like give us control, but that's incredibly sus. Yeah, with like Parsec. just give you free RAM on my computer. But it doesn't matter. For CS3 now. Twitch Play streamer computer, that is so dangerous. That is incredibly dangerous. Just always disable community content on the Steam page. Is there, how do I do that? Where's the option for that? Settings. Library and disable community content. Cool. Show game icons on the left column, yes. Ready to play should include streamable games, sure. Yeah, there's nothing. Display size, user interface. Automatic. Ew! Ew! I heard myself singing. I clicked on trails because there was a lot of people watching it. I was like, I'm gonna raid someone. It was just me again. Settings app Steam and install. Yeah, of course, of course. CS3 tomorrow? It's soon. It's happening. Remember when you thought I wouldn't beat CS2 by the end of the year? Let's raid someone playing, A vintage story. VTuber. One VTuber. Abby Alien. Fish story streamers? Actually, we should check. Fish story. No fish story streamers. Sorry. Has anyone ever streamed that besides me? Number 1 fish story streamer. Can't be beaten. Number 1 Alien Aunt, Season 2, Episode 79 of, oh my god, they have like 30 chickens in a pen. My goodness. Alright, we gotta get over there and root for their chickens. There are followers for it? There are. Like, why? Oh, thanks for watching today, folks. I appreciate it. I hope you had fun. Hope you enjoyed Gambler Jack 2, my reading of it. I'm curious, as always, what could the next story be? When does Rosalia show up? She has to be real. She'll show up soon. It's like 2 games after Rosalia now, so she has to show up. Or something big has to be revealed about her. Please, video game. Please, vampires. Thanks for watching. I hope you have a wonderful start to your weekend. If I don't see you tomorrow for the start of CS3, have a good start of your weekend. Sleep well for those days. Wow, this person is a very successful farm in Vintage Story. Holy cow. They are a pro. Anyways. I say anyways a lot. Mwah. Blah, blah, blah. Slobber, slobber, blah, 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 blah. You got some box slobbers before I go. See you tomorrow. Sleep tight. Repeating stuff. Bye. 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 Bye.